Most people die without ever living. They spend decades chasing comfort, avoiding risk, and telling themselves someday, but someday never comes. I know because I lived that way, waiting, drifting, hoping things would figure themselves out. They never did. What fixed it were the hard truths nobody wants to hear. So today, I'm giving you 85 brutally honest lessons that cut through the fluff and show you exactly how to take control of your life forever. Truth number 1, progress always comes with pain. Here's your first wake-up call. Pain is the admission fee for progress. The fastest growth periods of your life will also be the most uncomfortable. If you want to advance, you better get comfortable being uncomfortable. Think about it physiologically. When you build muscle, you literally tear the fibers apart so they can rebuild stronger. Growing pains as a kid? That's your body expanding faster than your joints can handle. Business expansion? It's supposed to be good news, but it doesn't make the stress any less real. Elite athletes don't get stronger during their easy sessions. They transform during the workouts that make them question everything. You cannot simultaneously want massive progress and an easy life. These two desires are fundamentally incompatible. Truth number 2, the happiness, satisfaction balance. Here's a distinction that will change how you approach your goals. You're allowed to be happy before you achieve them, just not satisfied. There's a massive difference between being content with your journey and being complacent about your destination. There's this powerful Haitian proverb, behind mountains are more mountains. Every peak you reach just reveals more peaks ahead. But here's what I've learned. The work shapes you more than you shape the work. I spent 6 months after college essentially trying to find myself, bouncing between different opportunities and side hustles. The conclusion I reached was counterintuitive. Meaningful work isn't just the means to an end. It's what gives life purpose. The results are just a byproduct. When people ask me why I still push myself when I could probably coast on what I've built, the answer is simple, because challenging work is what makes me feel alive. I'd rather be stressed and growing than comfortable and stagnant. There's discomfort on both sides of the equation, so I choose the productive discomfort. My friend, in just a moment, I'm going to reveal the exact mindset shift that transforms how you handle criticism and competition. But first, you need to understand why most people's opinions are completely worthless. So this brings me to truth number 3, why most critics don't matter. Let me hit you with some uncomfortable math. Most people are mediocre. They're average in health, wealth, and mindset. So why would you let their opinions dictate your actions? The average person will always try to keep you average. It makes perfect sense. If you want to be extraordinary, you'll need to do things that ordinary people see as extra. And here's the part that stings. Many people secretly want to see you fail because your success highlights the risks they were too scared to take. Always listen to people who are closest to your goals, not closest to your heart. Your loving family members might mean well, but if they've never built what you're trying to build, their advice is just well-intentioned noise. Here's a harsh perspective that helps me. Your critics will eventually die, and their opinions won't matter then, which means they probably don't matter now either, so you might as well pursue what you originally wanted. Truth number 4, the power of selective focus. Real productivity isn't about doing more things, it's about ruthlessly eliminating everything that doesn't matter. Let me redefine 2 concepts for you, commitment and focus. Commitment is the elimination of alternatives. When you get married, you eliminate all other romantic options. That's what real commitment looks like. Focus works the same way. The most focused person does the fewest things outside their main objective. Here's the framework that changed everything for me. Focus is measured by the number of things you say no to, not the number of things you say yes to. People try to add productivity hacks to their lives when true productivity comes from subtraction, not addition. Picture this analogy. Imagine you need to climb over a wall and you have 4 ladder rungs to work with. Most people spread those rungs across 4 different walls, hoping one will work. But none of them get high enough to matter. The smart move? Stack all 4 rungs on one wall and actually get over it. This happens at every level. I know people running solid 5-figure businesses who still can't resist launching new projects when they should be scaling what's already working. Even I struggle with this. I've started and abandoned more side projects than I care to admit because I got bored or saw something shinier. The temptation to diversify your effort is always there, but concentration of effort is what creates breakthrough results. I learned this lesson the hard way when I was juggling 3 different income streams: a freelance business, a drop shipping store, and affiliate marketing. I was making okay money from each, but nothing spectacular. The moment I killed 2 of them and focused entirely on one, my income doubled within 4 months. Here's truth number 5: fear versus regret. You gotta choose. Your hard change is terrifying, but so is regret. Your life will be shaped by which one you fear more. The successful version of yourself feels the same fears you do. The difference is that their fear of regret outweighs their fear of rejection. When I decided to quit my marketing internship to start freelancing full-time, it took me 3 months of internal debate. Every night I'd pace around my studio apartment telling my roommate, I'm going to do it next week, and then find another excuse. Here's what I learned. You can measure someone's personal power by the gap between when they make a decision and when they act on it. What finally got me over the edge wasn't courage, it was clarity. I played out my worst case scenario in detail. What if I completely failed? I'd be embarrassed, maybe have to move back with my parents for a few months, but I wouldn't die. I could always get another internship or entry-level job, probably with some freelance experience to show for it. Fear only exists in the abstract. The moment you make it specific, it loses most of its power. If you're in the developed world, the downside risks are mostly imaginary. The biggest real risk is the judgment of people whose opinions shouldn't matter to you anyway. Truth number 6: persistence creates perfect timing. Here's a counterintuitive truth. You can time everything perfectly if you never plan to stop. Most people try to time their efforts around opportunities, but that's backwards thinking. Imagine your lifetime as a timeline with random opportunities appearing at unpredictable moments. Most people work in spurts, hoping to catch those opportunities. But if you work consistently, you'll be ready whenever opportunity strikes. Perfect timing is a myth. Perfect preparation isn't. Starting creates the perfect conditions for opportunities to find you. The more you do, the more you realize you can do. Skills multiply opportunities exponentially. Look at someone like Elon Musk. He can enter almost any industry because he spent decades building a diverse skill set. He doesn't wait for perfect conditions. He creates them through relentless preparation. I'm genuinely curious about your experience with this concept. Have you ever had a moment where consistent preparation suddenly paid off in an unexpected way? Maybe you'd been working on a skill for months with no clear opportunity, and then suddenly the perfect situation appeared. I'd love to hear your story, because these moments reveal so much about how success really works. Truth number 7: envy is wasted energy. If people worked as hard toward their goals as they do hating others for achieving theirs, they'd already have what they want. The mental energy that goes into envy and resentment is massive and completely unproductive. Here are some hard truths about comparison. First, nobody is doing as well as you think they are. Social media shows highlights, not reality. Second, you don't win by beating others. You win by growing into your potential, while they shrink into irrelevance. Third, your biggest competition isn't other people. It's the mediocre version of yourself that never realizes what you could become. Here's something I've noticed. The people who get copied most by their competition are the ones who completely ignore their competition. They focus entirely on serving customers better, and everyone else just follows their lead. The real threat isn't that someone will copy you. It's that nobody will copy you because you're doing nothing worth copying. Take all that energy you spend comparing yourself to others and redirect it toward not being good enough yet. That's the only comparison that matters. Truth number 8: hard conversations create opportunities. Everything you want is waiting on the other side of conversations you've been avoiding. People either grow into their potential or live the same 6 months over and over again. The difference is how quickly you have difficult conversations once you realize they're necessary. I get it. I used to be terrible at this. I literally moved across the country before telling my dad I'd left my corporate job. But here's what I learned. If you think uncomfortable conversations are hard, wait until you see the consequences of not having them. You're always choosing between 2 types of pain: short-term discomfort or long-term regret. Comfort gives you short-term relief, but long-term pain. Fear gives you short-term pain, but long-term fulfillment. Always trade short-term pain for long-term gain, never the opposite. And I'm about to share the one skill that makes everything else possible. the ability to endure when quitting seems logical. But first, let me explain why excuses are more dangerous than you think. Truth number 9, learn to endure the impossible. My friend, there's a reason I tell new entrepreneurs to focus on one skill above all others. Learn to endure. The fastest way to become who you want to be is to put yourself in situations where you have no choice but to become that person. When I was building my first real business, I had about $3,000 saved up from my previous job. I invested $2,500 into equipment and software, leaving me with $500 and no guaranteed income. If my business hadn't worked out, I would have been eating ramen for months and probably calling my parents for help. But that constraint forced creativity. I couldn't afford expensive marketing, so I learned to create content that actually provided value. I couldn't hire help, so I became efficient at everything. I couldn't waste time on non-essentials because every hour had to count towards survival. You'd be amazed what you can endure when you have no choice. Throughout human history, people have survived unimaginable hardships, not because they were special, but because the only alternative was giving up completely. The constraints create the innovation required to escape the constraints. When your only options are figure it out or fail, you usually figure it out. Truth number 10. Results beat excuses every time. Your excuses might be valid, but they're still excuses. Here's a quote that changed my perspective. It's not your fault, but it's still your problem. You can either do something about your situation or spend your life explaining why you couldn't. Excuses are permission slips for mediocrity. You want everyone else to give you respect without results because of your special circumstances. But the only person who actually believes your excuses is you. Everyone else just nods politely. The person whose respect matters most, yourself, will always know you could have done more. That's the voice that keeps you up at night. I have a personal motto that helps. I will do what is required. Not my best, but what's required, because what's required might be better than your current best. Truth number 11. The hard way is the only way. The hard way is actually the easy way because the easy way never gets you there. Everyone's looking for shortcuts, but here's the reality. Real shortcuts get discovered and immediately adopted by everyone, making them standard practice, not shortcuts. Think about it. Humans learned to tie knots, which was revolutionary. Now everyone ties their shoes, and it's not a shortcut anymore. It's just basic human knowledge. All the things you want that most people don't have shortcuts available. People waste more time looking for the easy way than it would take to just do it the hard way. It's usually not one big difficult thing. It's 100 small difficult things spread across days, weeks, and months. There are different types of difficulty. Sacrifice hard, giving up things you enjoy. Effort hard, doing things you hate. Risk hard, potentially losing what you have. And uncertainty hard, not knowing if it'll work. Each presents itself at different times, and you need to be ready for all of them. Truth number 12, don't give away your power. What offends you controls you. Whatever you blame for your problems is what you're giving power over your life. When you say, I can't succeed because of X, you're literally saying that X controls your destiny. I used to believe I couldn't have healthy relationships because of childhood trauma. But I realized that by using that excuse, I was giving my past control over my future. I was saying that events from decades ago would determine how I loved for the rest of my life. Sometimes we sabotage ourselves because we don't want to validate the people who hurt us. It's like saying, I'll prove you were a bad parent by never succeeding. But that just hurts you more than anyone else. The day you choose to control yourself is the day you divorce your results from even the most valid reasons you have to fail. You might be right about your disadvantages, but so what? Truth number 13, rejection versus regret, Redux. Everyone must eventually choose between risking rejection now or guaranteeing regret later. Losers fear rejection. Winners fear regret. Most attempts fail at everything. Failure is literally a prerequisite for success. Here's one of my favorite personal quotes. Greatness rejects all first-time applicants. Think about how much rejection you handled just to get your current job. All the applications, interviews, and rejections that led to one yes. Building a business requires the same tolerance for rejection. Champions aren't excited about winning. They're relieved. They hate losing more than they love winning. And they expect to win because of their level of preparation compared to everyone else. Truth number 14, consistency demolishes talent. Let me tell you, you can beat most people at anything if you just stick with it for 1 year. You can become competent at almost any skill in just 20 hours of focused practice. The problem is that most people wait years before logging their first 20 hours. What makes things difficult isn't complexity, it's consistency. You have to keep doing it before you get anything back. The world belongs to those who can keep working without seeing immediate results. I've been told I'm decent at creating content and presenting ideas online, but what people don't see is that I've been making videos and writing posts almost daily for over 2 years. Most of them were terrible at first, cringeworthy actually, but I kept showing up. By the time I started getting real traction, I wasn't nervous about putting myself out there because I had already done it hundreds of times when nobody was watching. The overnight success people see was actually built through countless hours of practice when the stakes were low. Outwork your self-doubt through repetition, not affirmations. You overcome fear through habituation, exposing yourself to the scary thing so many times that it becomes normal. Truth number 15, embrace shamelessness. If you have no money and want to make money, you should have no shame. Send cold emails, slide into DMs, reach out to potential mentors, apply for opportunities you think you're underqualified for. Whatever it takes. Life-changing opportunities don't open themselves. I remember when I was trying to land my first high-paying client. I sent over 200 personalized outreach messages in 2 weeks. My friends thought I was being too much or desperate. But you know what? 3 of those messages turned into conversations. 1 turned into a client, and that client paid me more in 3 months than my previous job paid me in 6. Sometimes I think shame was invented by people who have resources to prevent people who don't from taking action. What exactly are you ashamed of? Trying? That makes no sense when you think about it logically. Every attempt has asymmetric risk-reward. Worst case, you get rejected and learn something. Best case, you get what you want. Both outcomes make you better than before. Life gives you unlimited attempts while you're alive. Here's the difference between shame and guilt. Guilt is breaking your own rules. Shame is breaking other people's rules. The question is, whose rules are you following? If successful people are telling you to ignore the shame and take action, maybe you're following the wrong rulebook. Success becomes clear once you start taking action. It's like walking through fog. You can only see a few steps ahead, but as you move forward, more of the path reveals itself. You don't need to see the entire journey, you just need to take the next visible step. The brutal truth is that most people will choose the comfortable lie over the uncomfortable truth every single time. They'll make excuses, blame circumstances, and wait for perfect conditions that will never come. But you're not most people, or you wouldn't have made it this far. You have a choice right now. Accept these harsh realities and use them as your unfair advantage, or pretend they don't apply to you and stay exactly where you are. The people who win aren't smarter, luckier, or more talented. They just accept reality faster and act accordingly. Every single truth I've shared today is available to everyone, but most people refuse to implement them because they're uncomfortable. Now that you understand these harsh realities, you might be thinking, this is heavy stuff, but I can handle it. Here's where most people make a critical mistake. They think knowing the brutal truths is enough, but there's a deeper layer. There are fundamental life principles that operate beneath everything we just discussed. Principles that nobody talks about because they're too uncomfortable, too real, too threatening to the stories we tell ourselves about how life works. These aren't just harsh truths. These are the foundational laws that govern everything. Truth number 1, life isn't supposed to be easy. My friend, life's not easy. Don't try to make it that way. Life's not fair. It never was, isn't now, and won't ever be. Don't fall into the trap of feeling like a victim because things didn't go your way. You're not. Get over it and get on with it. Most things worth having require you to break a sweat. The job you want, the relationship you want, the body you want, the business you want to build, none of it comes easy. And that's actually good news because easy things don't change you, don't make you stronger, don't give you stories worth telling. I used to resent this. I'd see people who seemed to have it easier and feel bitter about my struggles, but I've learned that struggling is the point. The difficulty isn't a bug in the system, it's the feature. It's what builds character, resilience, and actual competence. People who get everything handed to them never develop the skills to handle adversity when it inevitably comes. The moment you accept that life is supposed to be challenging, you stop wasting energy fighting reality and start using that energy to actually solve problems. Truth number 2, define success for yourself. Our culture has financialized everything. Money equals success, period. More money means more success, but that's just one way to measure it, and it might not be your way. Maybe success is a healthy family, a happy relationship, helping others, spiritual growth, or leaving the world better than you found it. Your definition might change over time, and that's fine. But whatever you choose, don't pick anything that compromises your character. For me, success is measured across 5 areas: my relationships, my health, physical and mental, my career, my personal growth, and my impact on others. I check in with these daily. Some might be thriving while others need attention. It's about balance and knowing what matters to you specifically. Here's what I've learned. If you don't define success for yourself, society will define it for you. And society's definition is usually about external validation, material possessions, and comparison to others. That's a recipe for misery because you'll never have enough, be enough, or achieve enough by someone else's standards. The most successful people I know aren't necessarily the richest. They're the ones who are clear about what they want from life and have the courage to pursue it despite what others think. Truth number 3, choose joy over happiness. Happiness is an emotional response to outcomes. If I get this promotion, I'll be happy. If this business succeeds, I'll be happy. It's result dependent, and that's why you'll be let down frequently. Joy is different. Joy isn't a choice or response to results. It's constant. Joy comes from doing what you're designed to do, regardless of outcome. When I stopped trying to make my daily work a means to an end and started finding fulfillment in the process itself, everything improved. The results came, but more importantly, I enjoyed the journey. Joy is always in process, always under construction, alive in the doing of what we're meant to do. This distinction changed everything for me. I used to chase happiness through achievements, thinking the next goal would finally make me feel complete. But happiness from outcomes is fleeting. You achieve something, feel good for a while, then need the next achievement to feel good again. It's exhausting. External circumstances. It comes from alignment. Doing work that matters to you, building relationships that energize you, pursuing growth that excites you. When you find joy in the process, you can handle any outcome because your fulfillment isn't dependent on results. Truth number 4, stop saying unbelievable. Unbelievable is the stupidest word in the dictionary. Think about it. When something amazing happens, we say, that was unbelievable, but it just happened. You witnessed it. Believe it. Give people more credit. Same goes for the dark side. When someone betrays you, when people lie, when things fall apart, that's not unbelievable either. It's human nature. We're complicated creatures. Don't be naive about people's capacity for both greatness and selfishness. Nothing humans do should surprise you. This mindset shift will save you from constant disappointment. When you accept that people are capable of both incredible good and terrible behavior, you stop being shocked when either happens. You can appreciate greatness without being naive about human nature. Truth number 5, know who you're not. The first step to knowing who you are isn't I know who I am, it's I know who I'm not. Process of elimination is how we find our identity. You know those friends who don't bring out your best, the ones who gossip too much, aren't reliable, won't be there when things get tough. Stop spending time with them. That bar where you always end up feeling terrible the next day, stop going. Those apps that keep you scrolling instead of engaging with real life, delete them. When you eliminate the people, places, and things that drain your energy, you accidentally find yourself in situations that energize you. Too many options make tyrants of us all. Decrease your options by cutting out what doesn't serve you. This process requires brutal honesty with yourself. You have to admit that some relationships aren't healthy, some habits aren't serving you, some environments are toxic. It's easier to add good things to your life than to remove bad things. But removal is often more powerful. I spent years trying to be everything to everyone, saying yes to every opportunity, maintaining relationships that drained me. It wasn't until I started saying no to what I didn't want that I found clarity about what I did want. I'm about to share the most important truth about building a life you can be proud of. But first, you need to understand why the choices you make when nobody's watching matter more than the ones everyone sees. Truth number 6, don't leave crumbs. Crumbs are the choices we make that force us to look over our shoulders later. You didn't pay back that money, now you're avoiding that person. You were dishonest in a relationship, now you're stressed about getting caught. You stayed out too late, and now you can't show up for the commitment you made. These choices create regret, guilt, and stress. They prevent you from moving forward freely. Instead, make choices that pay you back. Set up systems that make tomorrow easier. Prepare for things in advance. Keep your word. Pay your debts. Whether it's setting up your coffee maker the night before or studying early for an exam instead of cramming, create outcomes that support your future self. Get some return on investment from your choices. The goal is to live in a way where you never have to look over your shoulder. When you see someone you owe money to, you're happy to see them. When your past comes up, you're proud of how you handled things. When people talk about your character, they have only good things to say. This requires thinking beyond the immediate moment. Before you make a choice, ask yourself, will I be proud of this decision tomorrow, next week, next year? If the answer is no, don't do it. Truth number 7, study your successes. We obsess over our failures. We analyze them, dissect them, replay them until we're paralyzed. But when do we really examine our wins? The easiest way to understand success is through gratitude. Give thanks for what's working, what you do have, the simple things you take for granted. That gratitude creates more to be thankful for. I'm not saying ignore your failures, learn from them, but focus more energy on understanding what you do well. Study the habits and practices that lead to your success, then do more of them. Most people can tell you exactly why their last relationship failed, but struggle to explain why their current friendships work. They know every mistake they made in their previous job, but haven't analyzed what they do well in their current role. This backwards focus keeps you stuck in patterns of failure instead of building on patterns of success. Success leaves clues. When something goes well in your life, examine it. What did you do? How did you approach it? What mindset did you have? What circumstances were present? Then try to replicate those conditions in other areas of your life. I'm really curious about your experience with this. What's one success in your life that you've never really stopped to analyze? Maybe a relationship that just works, a skill you're naturally good at, or a habit that served you well. Share it in the comments. Your story might help someone else recognize their own unexamined strengths. Truth number 8, make promises to yourself. Beyond the rules society gives us, we need to make voluntary obligations to ourselves. These are private commitments, your own personal code that nobody else monitors or enforces. Maybe it's always telling the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Maybe it's never talking badly about people behind their back. Maybe it's always following through on what you say you'll do, even small things. These are between you and your conscience. An honest person's pillow is their peace of mind. When you lay down at night, no matter who's around, you sleep alone with your choices. There aren't enough external rules in the world to police your private character. That's on you. These private commitments become the foundation of your integrity. They're not about what others see. They're about who you are when nobody's watching. They build self-trust and self-respect, which are prerequisites for any kind of meaningful success. Let me tell you, the most powerful people I know aren't powerful because of their position or wealth. They're powerful because they have unshakable integrity. They've made commitments to themselves and kept them, which gives them confidence to make bigger commitments to others. Truth number 9, want what you choose. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. I learned this lesson early in my career when I had some success and suddenly could afford things I'd never had before. I was getting my clothes professionally pressed just because I could, not because I wanted to. One day a friend asked if I liked my clothes pressed that way. I realized I hated it. I'd never thought about whether I wanted it, just that I could have it. Be discerning. Choose things because you want them, not because you can afford them or because they're available. This applies to everything: career opportunities, relationships, lifestyle choices, even daily decisions. Just because you can work 80 hours a week doesn't mean you should. Just because you can afford expensive things doesn't mean they'll make you happy. Just because someone wants to date you doesn't mean you should date them. Discrimination is a lost art. We're taught to say yes to opportunities, to never turn down a chance, to always do more. But success often comes from saying no to good things so you can say yes to great things. Truth number 10, don't put a ceiling on yourself. A roof is a man-made thing. We create artificial limits on what we think we deserve or can achieve. This is too good to be true. I don't deserve this. What if it all falls apart? When we get that feeling that life is better than we expected, we tense up. We start watching ourselves perform instead of just performing. We create restrictions where none need to exist. Stay in the process. Focus on the doing, not the outcome. The greatest performers don't aim for the target, they aim beyond it. Let someone else tell you when you've won. Keep your expectations immortal and your finish lines infinite. My friend, I see this constantly with people who start seeing success. They get scared that it won't last, so they unconsciously sabotage themselves. They stop doing the things that created the success in the first place. They start playing defense instead of offense. The cure is to stay focused on the process, not the results. Keep doing what got you there. Trust that you deserve good things. Don't cap your potential because you're afraid of losing what you have. By the way, if you're finding value in these insights, I dive deeper into topics like this in my weekly newsletter. I share personal stories, lessons I'm learning, and ideas I don't post anywhere else. If you're interested, you can find the link in the description. Would love to have you join the conversation there. Truth number 11, turn the page. You're going to make mistakes. Own them, make amends, then move on. Guilt and regret will kill your momentum if you let them. I know someone who struggled with bad habits for years. His mentor told him something simple: "I've never had any trouble turning the page in the book of my life." That was it. Sometimes the solution isn't complex. It's just deciding that this chapter is over and the next one begins now. You are the author of your life. Turn the page. The key is learning to forgive yourself without excusing yourself. Yes, you made a mistake. Yes, you need to make it right. But once you've done what you can to repair the damage, you have to move forward. Staying stuck in guilt doesn't help anyone. Not you, not the people you hurt, not the world that needs your contribution. Some people get addicted to their past mistakes. They use them as excuses for current failures or reasons why they can't succeed. But your past doesn't determine your future unless you let it. Every day is a chance to start writing a new chapter. Truth number 12, give your obstacles credit. My friend, I don't understand those no fear shirts that were popular years ago. I try to scare myself at least once a day. Fear is good. It means you're pushing boundaries. Butterflies mean you care about the outcome. Instead of denying your fears, acknowledge them. Say them out loud. Give them the credit they deserve. Don't act like they're no big deal, but don't let them paralyze you either. We're probably destined to face our biggest fears anyway, so we might as well get good at moving through them. Let me tell you, when you give your obstacles proper respect, you either find the courage to overcome them or realize they weren't worth worrying about in the first place. Fear serves a purpose. It keeps us alert, makes us prepare, forces us to take things seriously. The problem isn't feeling fear, it's letting fear make your decisions for you. Feel the fear, acknowledge it, then do what you need to do anyway. Most of our fears are about things that will never happen, but even when they do happen, we usually handle them better than we expected. Fear is almost always worse in anticipation than in reality. The final truth I'm about to share might be the most important one. It's about recognizing when you found something real in a world full of noise. But first, you need to understand how to put yourself in position to receive it. Truth number 13, how to recognize truth. How do we know when we've crossed paths with truth? I believe truth is all around us, but we're not always in the right place to receive it. We live in a noisy world with constant distractions, commitments, deadlines. It's hard to get clarity. First, put yourself in places to receive truth. This might be meditation, prayer, journaling, time in nature, or just silence. Schedule it, make it non-negotiable. Second, when you hear something that resonates, personalize it. Ask how it applies to your specific situation, why you need it in your life right now. Third, have patience to internalize it. Let it move from your head to your gut, from intellectual understanding to instinct. This takes time. Finally, have courage to act on it. Take it into your daily life and practice it. Make it part of who you are. When you do this, when you receive truth, personalize it, internalize it, and act on it, you create alignment between what you want and what you need. That's as close to heaven on earth as we get. Truth has a different quality than opinion or preference. It feels solid, unshakable, obvious once you see it, but recognizing truth requires preparation. You have to create space in your life for reflection, contemplation, and honest self-examination. Most people are too busy reacting to life to recognize the deeper patterns and principles at work. These 13 principles aren't just ideas to think about, they're practices to live by. Life isn't about having all the answers. It's about asking better questions and being open to growth. The path isn't always clear, and that's okay. What matters is that you're willing to do the work, break a sweat, face your fears, and keep moving forward. You're writing your own story, and every choice is either adding value or taking it away. Your 20s and 30s are the building years. Every habit you develop, every standard you set, every boundary you maintain is creating the foundation for everything that comes after. Don't waste this time trying to impress others. Use it to become who you're meant to be. The truth is, we're all figuring it out as we go. The difference between those who thrive and those who don't isn't that successful people have all the answers. It's that they're better at working with uncertainty, learning from failure, and staying committed to their growth. These truths have guided me through both the best and worst moments of my building years. They're not magic solutions, but they're reliable principles that work when you work them. Take what serves you, adapt what needs adapting, and create your own version of success. Your life is your responsibility. Your choices are your own. Your story is still being written. These principles can be your guide, but ultimately, you have to walk the path yourself. The beautiful thing about truth is that it's patient. It will wait for you to be ready. But when you are ready, when you're tired of superficial answers and ready for the real work of building a meaningful life, these truths will be here, My friend, understanding these life principles is powerful, but knowledge without application is just entertainment. The difference between people who know these truths and people who live them comes down to daily habits. What I'm about to share are the specific behaviors that successful people practice religiously, but rarely discuss publicly. These aren't the habits you see promoted everywhere. These are the uncomfortable ones, the unsexy ones, the ones that actually create results. Most successful people don't want you to know these because once you do, you'll have the same tools they use to get ahead. Habit 1, budget like your future depends on it. Create a real budget and stick to it religiously, not some complicated spreadsheet, a simple tracker that shows money coming in, money going out, and what's left. When I started tracking every dollar, I realized I was spending $200 monthly on stuff I forgot I bought. That money became my first business investment fund. Habit 2, learn one money skill weekly. Investing, taxes, business formation, credit optimization. Pick one financial topic each week and become competent at it. YouTube University is free and better than most business schools for practical money knowledge. Schools don't teach money because broke people are easier to control. Every money skill you learn is freedom gained and one less way for others to use what you don't know against you. Habit 3, carry cash. Keep $100 in your wallet, not for emergencies, for perspective. When you're about to buy something stupid, seeing actual money leave your hands hits different than swiping plastic. Plus, cash makes you feel more in control of your financial destiny. Habit 4, track net worth monthly. Assets minus liabilities. Simple math that most people avoid because the number scares them. I check mine every month, not to obsess over it, but to make sure I'm moving in the right direction. Even if it's just $50 more than last month, progress is progress. People track their weight more than their wealth, then wonder why they're broke. What you measure, you manage. What you manage improves. The truth about money that no one tells you, it's not about making more, it's about respecting what you have. Rich people didn't get rich by accident, they got rich by treating money like a tool, not a toy. But managing money is only half the battle. None of these financial habits stick if you don't have the energy and focus to back them up, and that's where your mornings come in. Habit 5, same wake-up time every single day. Pick a time and stick to it. Weekend, weekday, hangover, doesn't matter. Your circadian rhythm doesn't care about your social calendar. When I started waking up at 6 a.m. consistently, my energy levels stabilized and productivity doubled. Most people treat sleep like a suggestion, not a system. Your body craves routine more than variety. Consistency in one area creates stability in all areas. Habit 6, phone quarantine. Your bedroom is a phone-free zone. Charge it in another room and don't touch it for the first hour you're awake. This isn't anti-technology nonsense. It's about starting your day with intention instead of reaction. Your notifications can wait, your mental clarity can't. The first hour sets your mind for the next 15. Start with other people's priorities and yours won't happen. Habit 7, cold water shock. Finish your shower with 30 seconds of cold. It hits you with natural adrenaline and proves you can do hard things before breakfast. Cold water wakes up your body and your willpower. Choosing discomfort trains your brain for bigger challenges. Your small wins will fuel your big wins. Habit 8, movement, not exercise. Do something physical within 30 minutes of waking up. 10 push-ups, touch your toes, walk around the block. Your body needs movement before you demand peak performance. Motion creates emotion, and emotion fuels motivation. You can't think your way into energy, but you can move your way there. Let me tell you, my mornings used to be a disaster. Snooze, scroll, panic, coffee, survive. Now it's up at 6, cold shower, 10 minutes outside, quick workout, plan the day. Same 24 hours, but a completely different life, path. Now, I had my mornings dialed in, but I realized my attention was still scattered throughout the day. Let me tell you, your phone is a multi-million-dollar piece of technology designed to make you addicted. Accepting this isn't paranoia, it's strategic awareness. Which leads me to the next point. Habit 9, 1 hour phone limit. Seriously, 1 hour total daily phone time. Delete social apps and use web versions if you need them. The friction of opening a browser makes mindless scrolling way less likely. Habit 10, evening device shut down at 8 p.m. All screens off. Use this time to read, think, plan tomorrow, or have actual conversations. Your brain needs processing time without constant input bombardment. Your brain's like a dishwasher. It needs quiet time to clean itself. Constant screen time is like tossing in dirty dishes mid-cycle. Give your mind space to process today and reset for tomorrow. Habit 11, red light after sunset. Replace harsh white lights with red LEDs in the evening. This signals your brain to start producing melatonin naturally. Better sleep means better everything else. Your brain can't tell a laptop screen from the sun. Both signal it to stay awake. Red light mimics sunset and lets your body wind down the way it's meant to. Habit 12, notification detox. Turn off every notification except calls and texts. Your attention is your most valuable resource. Guard it like your bank account password. When I cut my phone use to an hour a day, I expected to feel disconnected. Instead, I felt more present. After a few weeks, I realized I wasn't missing anything. Small cuts in screen time created massive clarity. My friend, I've got to be real with you. Last week, I burned 2 hours on YouTube Shorts. Started with productivity tips, ended up learning why flamingos are pink. Brain fried, day gone, felt awful. We all have that one thing that eats our time without giving anything back. Maybe it's TikTok, maybe it's your ex's Instagram, maybe it's Reddit. Whatever yours is, drop a comment and be honest. Your story might help someone else see they're not alone. It's just being human. Once I got control of my phone, I found myself with extra mental space, and that space naturally turned into something powerful. Creativity. Most people think creativity is just for artists. Creativity is for everyone. It's how you solve problems, build things, and stay sane. Once you started protecting your attention and energy, your brain finally had space to be creative again. Habit 13, daily documentation. Write something every day. Doesn't matter what. Journal entries, business ideas, random thoughts. Writing clarifies thinking better than any other practice I've discovered. Your thoughts are like steam until you write them down, shapeless and gone. Writing turns them into building blocks. I keep a note on my phone called Random Thoughts, and it's my most valuable business asset. Half my best ideas came from 2 a.m. brain dumps I'd have forgotten by morning. Habit 14, weekly recipe mastery. Learn to cook one new dish each week. Cooking is creativity, meditation, and practical skill development wrapped into one satisfying package. Plus, you save money and impress dates. Here's the real lesson. Cooking shows that precise steps create predictable results. Most people wing it in the kitchen, then wing it in business, and wonder why nothing works. Precision in small things builds precision in big things. Habit 15, photography practice. Take 5 intentional photos daily, non-Instagram content, actual photography that captures moments you want to remember. This trains your eye to notice beauty in ordinary situations. Habit 16, draw something. 1 drawing per day, even if it's stick figures. Drawing activates different brain regions than digital work and helps process emotions you didn't know you had. Creativity isn't about talent, it's about curiosity. When you start creating regularly, you start seeing solutions where you previously saw problems. This mindset shift alone is worth the effort. My friend, creativity only flows if your body has the energy to keep up. That's why taking care of your physical foundation is non-negotiable. Habit 17, hydration first. Drink 16 ounces of water immediately upon waking. Your body has been fasting for 8 hours and needs hydration more than stimulation. Coffee can wait 20 minutes. Start your day with water and you'll feel sharper, calmer, and more energized right away. Habit 18, delay caffeine. No coffee for the first hour you're awake. This prevents afternoon crashes and lets your natural cortisol cycle do its job. When you finally drink coffee, it actually works. Habit 19, daily exercise minimum. Something physical every single day. Could be 10 push-ups, could be a full workout. Consistency matters more than intensity. Small daily actions compound into massive long-term results. Habit 20, clean eating foundation. Start simple, 5 servings of fruits and vegetables daily, or eliminate 1 category of junk food. Don't eliminate everything at once. That's a recipe for failure. That single change led to better sleep, which led to better workouts, which led to better food choices. One good decision creates momentum for the next one. Habit 21, walk without destination. Take a 15-minute walk with no phone, no music, no agenda, just you and your thoughts. This isn't meditation, it's mental processing time. Some of my best business ideas have come during these walks because my brain finally had space to think instead of just consume. The connection between your body and your performance isn't motivational fluff, it's biological fact. You have one body for your entire life. Treat it like the most important investment you'll ever make, because it is. Do you know that breakthrough I mentioned? It happened because I wrote things down and connected dots I couldn't see before. This and other useful tips I share in my weekly newsletter, the behind the scenes, the failures, that helped me get going. The link is in the description. Would love to see you there. Let me tell you, skills don't mean much if your head's a mess. Let me show you how to fix that with a few simple habits. Habit 22, daily skill building. Pick one skill and practice it for 30 minutes daily. Coding, writing, speaking, design, whatever aligns with your goals. Compound learning beats random education every time. I learned this the hard way, when I spent months jumping between different courses and tutorials, thinking I was being productive. But when someone asked me what I actually knew how to do, I realized I was a mile wide and an inch deep in everything. The day I picked one skill and committed to 30 minutes daily, everything changed. Your brain needs repetition to build neural pathways, and consistency beats intensity every single time. Habit 23. Educational audio consumption. Replace music with podcasts or audiobooks during mundane tasks, cooking, cleaning, commuting. Turn dead time into growth time. Most people waste 2 to 3 hours daily on autopilot activities, but successful people see these moments as free education time. The difference between someone who grows fast and someone who stays stuck isn't intelligence. It's how they use the hours everyone else throws away. Habit 24. Weekly online course completion. Finish one short online course each week. YouTube, Coursera, Skillshare, doesn't matter where. The goal is consistent skill acquisition, not credentials. Build the habit of finishing what you start. Most people collect knowledge, like trophies, but winners apply one thing immediately and move to the next. Habit 25. Teach what you learn. Record simple videos explaining concepts you're studying. Teaching forces you to truly understand material instead of just consuming it passively. I discovered this accidentally when a friend asked me to explain a marketing strategy I'd just learned. As I tried to break it down, I realized I didn't actually understand it as well as I thought. That's when it clicked. If you can't explain something simply, you don't really know it. Now, I record a quick voice memo explaining every concept I learn, even if no one ever hears it. Your brain has to organize information differently when you teach it, and that's where real understanding happens. Habit 26. Book replacement therapy. For every Netflix series you want to binge, read the book that inspired it instead. Most shows are based on books anyway, and books develop your attention span while entertainment destroys it. Learning isn't about collecting information, it's about building skills. Focus on the one that compound: writing, public speaking, basic coding, financial literacy, and sales. These 5 skills can take you anywhere. My friend, here's what nobody talks about. Your mind is like a computer. It needs regular maintenance and occasional upgrades to perform optimally. Skills aren't enough if your mind is not sharp. That's where mental optimization comes in. Habit 27. Meditation practice. Start with 5 minutes daily. Sit quietly, focus on breathing. Notice when your mind wanders. Gently return attention to breath. Repeat. This isn't mystical nonsense. It's mental strength training. Your attention is your most valuable asset, and meditation is how you train it to work for you instead of against you. Habit 28. Philosophy reading. Read one philosophical passage each morning. Philosophy provides frameworks for handling life's inevitable challenges. Habit 29. Thought capture system. Carry a notebook everywhere. When ideas strike, write them down immediately. Your brain will generate more ideas when it trusts you to capture them. I used to have brilliant ideas in the shower or while driving, then completely forget them by the time I got to my desk. It was frustrating because I knew I was losing good stuff, but I kept telling myself I'd remember later. Your brain is like a creative partner who stops sharing when it realizes you're not paying attention. Capture everything, even the dumb ideas, because your brain needs to trust that you're listening. Habit 30. Silent reflection time. 15 minutes daily of complete silence. No input, no distractions, just you and your thoughts. This is where creativity and clarity emerge from the mental noise. The strongest people I know aren't physically strongest. They're mentally resilient. They've trained their minds like athletes train their bodies, consistently, intentionally, progressively. Mental toughness isn't something you're born with. It's built. Putting yourself in uncomfortable situations and learning you can handle more than you think. I learned this the hard way. People who achieve their goals and people who just talk about them aren't talented or lucky. It's who they surround themselves with. I spent 2 years grinding alone, thinking networking was fake and success was a solo mission. Dead wrong. The moment I started building real relationships, everything accelerated. Here's how. Habit 31. Community involvement. Join or create groups focused on growth and learning. Online communities, local meetups, professional organizations. Surround yourself with people who challenge you to level up. Habit 32. Weekly meaningful connection. Have one substantial conversation weekly with someone you respect. Not networking, genuine connection. Ask about their challenges, share your struggles, offer help without expecting anything back. Habit 33. Gratitude expression. Tell someone specifically what you appreciate about them each week. Text a friend, email a mentor, call your parents. Expressing gratitude strengthens relationships and improves your mental state. Don't wait for special occasions to say what matters. Most people go through their days wondering if they matter, so your words might be exactly what someone needs to hear. Habit 34, content engagement. When you consume valuable content, engage meaningfully, comment thoughtfully, share insights, contribute to conversations, building relationships through valuable interaction opens doors you didn't know existed. Stop waiting for others to reach out first. Be the person who initiates plans. The vulnerability of reaching out feels risky, but the regret of staying isolated feels worse. Let me tell you, your personal relationships help, but your environment beats willpower every time. That's why setting up your space is huge. Habit 35, daily space optimization. Clean and organize your primary workspace daily. Your external environment reflects and influences your internal state. Clutter kills creativity and focus. Design your space like a scientist, designing an experiment for optimal results. Most people fail though, because knowing the habits isn't enough. You need a strategy to actually make them stick. I'd recommend choosing 6 habits that address your biggest current challenges. If mornings are chaotic, pick habits 5 through 8. If money stress keeps you up at night, start with habits 1 through 4. Commit to completing 4 of your 6 chosen habits each day for 30 days. Not all 6. Trying to do everything is perfectionist thinking that usually ends in all or nothing failure. Sticking to 4 out of 6 gives you the flexibility you need while keeping your momentum going. When I started implementing these habits 3 years ago, individual changes seemed insignificant, but they compounded into a completely different life trajectory. Better sleep, improved workout quality. Better workouts, enhanced mental clarity. Mental clarity led to better business decisions. Better business decisions created more opportunities. It's your positive feedback loop that accelerates over time. Change doesn't come from doing everything perfectly. It comes from showing up, even on the messy days. You don't need to wait for the right timing or the right version of yourself. You are already the person capable of starting. Every choice you make is a vote for the future you want to live in, and those votes add up, quietly, slowly, then all at once. Habits are the foundation, but if you're serious about change, you need a systematic approach. Let me tell you, you can't just add good habits to a broken system and expect transformation. You need strategies that work together, that reinforce each other, that create momentum instead of just adding more items to your to-do list. What I'm about to show you next is how to take everything we've covered and turn it into a 30-day transformation plan. This isn't about perfection, it's about strategic implementation that actually sticks. Strategy number 1, stop blaming and start owning everything that happens to you. This was the hardest pill I had to swallow. Every failed job interview, every rejected application, every missed opportunity. I had to accept that my choices led me there. It's painful to admit, but it's also incredibly powerful. When you stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what can I do about it? Everything changes. Your focus shifts from being a victim to being the creator of your own reality. I used to waste hours complaining about how unfair everything was, how other people had advantages I didn't have. Now I spend that same energy figuring out solutions. The truth is, while you're busy blaming the world, you're missing the opportunity to become the person who can actually change your situation. You can't control what happens to you, but you can control how you respond. And that response determines everything that comes next. Strategy number 2, protect your energy by saying no to distractions. Every yes to something unimportant is a no to something that could change your life. You can't do everything, so you need to be strategic about what you commit to. This is especially hard when you're young and feel like you should say yes to every opportunity, but trying to do everything means you won't do anything well. Be selective. If something doesn't align with your goals or genuinely excite you, it's probably a no. I used to say yes to every social event, every random project, every request for my time. I was constantly busy, but never productive. Once I learned to protect my time and energy, I could focus on what actually mattered. The word no became my superpower because it freed up space for the things that could actually move my life forward. Strategy number 3, stop planning and start doing. The biggest difference between dreamers and achievers is action. You can have the perfect plan, the most detailed roadmap, the best intentions, but if you don't execute, it's all worthless. Start today, even if you're not ready. You don't need perfect conditions or complete knowledge to begin. You just need to take the first step. Action creates momentum, and momentum creates results. I spent months researching the perfect way to start my business, reading every blog post and watching every tutorial, but nothing happened until I actually started doing something. Pick one strategy from this list and implement it today, not tomorrow, not next week, today. The gap between knowing what to do and actually doing it is where most people get stuck. Don't be one of them. What I'm about to share changed the way I approach growth completely, a learning system that can reshape your skill set in just 30 days. But to really understand its power, we need to look at why most people never get the results they're chasing. Strategy number 4, commit to learning something new every single day. The world changes fast, and the skills that got you here won't necessarily get you where you want to go. You need to constantly evolve and grow. This doesn't mean spending hours studying every day. Even 15 to 20 minutes of focused learning compounds into massive growth over time. Read industry blogs, watch educational videos, take online courses, or just have conversations with people who know more than you. When I started my business, I had no idea what I was doing, but I committed to learning one new thing about marketing, sales, or business every day. After a few months, I had accumulated enough knowledge to actually know what I was talking about. The compound effect of daily learning is incredible. Small investments of time turn into massive knowledge gains. Strategy number 5, define exactly what you want and when you want it. Most people have vague wishes instead of specific goals. I want to be successful isn't a goal, it's a fantasy. I want to earn $5,000 per month from my side business by December is a goal. When I started my first business attempt, I was all over the place. I wanted to make money online, but had no idea what that actually meant. It wasn't until I got specific, I want to make $1,000 in monthly recurring revenue within 6 months, that I could create an actual plan. Think of goals like GPS coordinates. You can't get somewhere if you don't know where you're going. Your goals should be so clear that you could explain them to a stranger and they'd understand exactly what you're trying to achieve. Write them down, make them measurable, set deadlines. This clarity is what separates dreamers from achievers. Strategy number 6, turn your goals into step-by-step action plans. Having a goal without a plan is like having a destination without a map. You need to break down your big goal into smaller, manageable tasks that you can actually execute. Let's say your goal is to start a freelance business. Your plan might include research your target market this week, create a portfolio next week, reach out to 5 potential clients the week after. Each step should be specific enough that you know exactly what to do and can measure whether you've done it. I learned this the hard way when I spent months working on my business without actually making any real progress. It wasn't until I started planning specific actions for each day that things began to move forward. The magic happens when you transform abstract goals into concrete, actionable steps. I've been thinking a lot about that space between setting goals and actually following through, how we dream big but often get stuck when it's time to act. I'd love to hear how that shows up for you. Drop a comment and let me know what part of the process challenges you most, or how you've made it work in the past. Strategy number 7, build discipline through consistency, not perfection. Discipline isn't about never making mistakes. It's about showing up even when you don't feel like it. It's the bridge between your goals and your achievements. Start small. Instead of trying to completely overhaul your life overnight, pick one simple habit and do it every day for a month. Maybe it's reading for 15 minutes, doing 20 push-ups, or writing 1 paragraph. The specific habit matters less than the consistency. I started with just making my bed every morning. It sounds trivial, but that one small win at the start of each day created momentum for everything else. Success breeds success, and discipline is built one small victory at a time. After a month of making my bed, I added exercise, then reading, then planning my day, each habit built on the previous one. Strategy number 8, audit your circle and upgrade your relationships. The people you spend time with have a massive impact on your mindset, your goals, and your success. If you're surrounded by people who complain, make excuses, or don't believe in growth, it's going to be much harder to change your life. This doesn't mean you need to cut off all your old friends, but you do need to be intentional about adding new people to your circle. Seek out people who are doing what you want to do, who push you to be better, and who believe in possibility. I joined online communities, attended local meetups, and started conversations with people whose work I admired. Some of these connections led to mentorship, others to collaboration, and all of them expanded my perspective on what was possible. Your network truly is your net worth, but more importantly, it shapes your mindset and what you believe is achievable. Massive thanks to all of you watching and supporting. If you're looking for a way to go deeper with the content or just want to give back, I just launched YouTube memberships, priority replies, exclusive content, and more await inside. Click the join button if it feels right. Would love to have you in the inner circle. Strategy number 9, treat time like the precious resource it actually is. You can make more money, but you can't make more time. How you spend your hours determines the quality of your life and the speed of your progress. Start by tracking how you actually spend your time for a week. Most people are shocked when they see how much time goes to scrolling social media, watching random videos, or just mindless activities. Once you see where your time goes, you can start redirecting it toward your goals. Use the 80-20 rule. 80% of your results come from 20% of your efforts. Identify the activities that actually move you forward and prioritize those. Everything else is just busy work. I realized I was spending hours on tasks that felt productive, but weren't actually contributing to my goals. The next few strategies I'm about to share are what separate people who make temporary changes from those who create lasting transformation, and they all start with how you handle one specific thing. Strategy number 10, learn to recognize and manage your emotional responses. Your emotions are powerful, and they can either drive you forward or hold you back. The key is learning to acknowledge them without letting them control your decisions. When you feel frustrated, angry, or scared, pause and ask yourself, what is this emotion trying to tell me? Often, these feelings are signals that something needs your attention, but reacting emotionally rarely leads to the best outcomes. I used to make decisions based on how I felt in the moment, which led to a lot of poor choices. Learning to pause, breathe, and respond thoughtfully instead of reacting emotionally has been a game changer for my decision making. Emotions are data, not directions. Strategy number 11, develop the ability to bounce back from setbacks quickly. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of the process. The difference between people who succeed and those who don't isn't that successful people never fail. It's that they recover faster. When something doesn't go as planned, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? And what's my next move? Don't waste time dwelling on what went wrong. Extract the lesson and keep moving forward. I've had business ideas that flopped, relationships that ended badly, and goals that I completely missed. Each setback taught me something valuable, but only because I chose to see them as learning experiences rather than reasons to give up. Resilience is a skill you can develop, and it might be the most important one. Strategy number 12, appreciate what you have while working toward what you want. Gratitude isn't just feel-good advice. It's a practical tool for maintaining motivation and perspective. When you focus on what's going right in your life, you create a positive foundation for growth. Start each day by writing down 3 things you're grateful for. They don't have to be big things. Maybe it's your morning coffee, a conversation with a friend, or just the fact that you have another day to work toward your goals. Gratitude keeps you grounded and prevents you from falling into the trap of thinking you'll be happy when you achieve your next goal. Happiness is a practice, not a destination. It also rewires your brain to notice opportunities and positive outcomes, which accelerates your progress toward your goals. Here's the truth. Knowing these strategies won't change your life. Applying them will. You can watch 100 videos about success, read every self-help book ever written, and attend every seminar, but nothing changes until you take action. The next 30 days are going to pass, whether you use them to transform your life or not. You can either be the same person you are today, just 1 month older, or you can be someone completely different. Someone who takes responsibility, sets clear goals, maintains discipline, and consistently works toward what they want. Don't try to implement all 12 strategies at once. That's a recipe for overwhelm and failure. Instead, pick 2 to 3 that resonate most with you and focus on those for the next month. Master them before adding more. I recommend starting with taking ownership, setting one clear goal, and building one small daily habit. These 3 create the foundation for everything else. Once they become automatic, you can layer on additional strategies. These 12 strategies aren't theoretical concepts. They're practical tools that work if you work them, but they require commitment, consistency, and the willingness to be uncomfortable as you grow into the person you want to become. Your current situation is not your final destination. Every successful person you admire started exactly where you are now, with a decision to change. They weren't special, they weren't lucky, they just decided to take control of their life and follow through on that decision every single day. The only question is, will you make that decision today? Will you stop being a spectator in your own life and start being the main character? The tools are here. The roadmap is clear. The only thing missing is your commitment to begin. My friend, all these strategies mean nothing if you don't have the time to implement them. And here's what nobody wants to admit. Most people don't have a skill problem or a knowledge problem. They have a time management problem. They know what to do, they want to change, but they can't find the space in their lives to actually do the work. The time management tips you're about to learn aren't just productivity hacks. They're the system that creates the time and mental space needed to build everything else we've discussed. Tip number 1, use time blocking for your most important work. This means putting specific time slots in your calendar for the things that matter most. Most people's calendars are full of other people's priorities, meetings, calls, random requests. Meanwhile, their own important work gets pushed to whenever I have time, which is basically never. I don't time block everything because that feels like overkill, but I always schedule my most important work. If I need to work on a business proposal, I block out 2 hours for that. If I want to learn a new skill, I schedule specific time slots for it. This ensures that my priorities get the same respect as everyone else's. Here's the key. Treat your own important work like you would treat a meeting with your boss. You wouldn't skip that meeting because you don't feel like it. Apply the same commitment to your own goals. Tip number 2, leverage Parkinson's law with artificial deadlines. Parkinson's law states that work expands to fill the time you give it. If you have all day to write an email, it'll somehow take all day. If you only have 15 minutes, you'll get it done in 15 minutes. The solution is to create artificial constraints, even for projects without real deadlines. When I was building my first website, I could have taken months to perfect every detail. Instead, I gave myself one weekend to get version 1 live. It wasn't perfect, but it was functional, and I could improve it from there. This works for everything. Give yourself 2 hours to clean your apartment instead of whenever I get around to it. Set a deadline to finish that online course, even though no one's checking. Constraints force focus and prevent endless tweaking. Tip number 3, set a daily highlight every single day. This comes from the book, Make Time, and it's deceptively simple. Every morning, decide on one thing, just one, that will make today feel successful. This isn't your entire to-do list. This is the one thing that, if you accomplish nothing else, you'll still feel good about your day. Some days my highlight is finish the marketing proposal. Other days it's call my parents or set up my new workspace. The key is picking something that's either urgent, satisfying, or fun. On days when I set a clear highlight, I always get it done and feel accomplished. On days when I don't, I get lost in my endless to-do list and end the day feeling scattered. People always ask, only one thing per day? Don't you need to do more? Sure, you'll do other things too. But imagine if every single day for the next year, you accomplish the one most important thing on your list. You'd make incredible progress. Tip number 4, you absolutely own all of your time. This was a massive mindset shift for me. I used to constantly say, I don't have time for things. Working out, calling friends, pursuing projects I cared about. Then I came across this idea that hit me like a brick. At any given moment, you are doing exactly what you most want to be doing. That sounds harsh, but it's true. When I spent 6 hours playing video games last weekend, instead of working on my side project, I wasn't a victim of circumstances. I was actively choosing entertainment over progress. When I skip the gym, I'm not too busy. I'm prioritizing other things over my health. Let me tell you, this realization is incredibly empowering because it puts you back in control. Yes, you might have a boss. Yes, you might have obligations, but fundamentally, you choose how to spend your time. If you don't have time for something, it's simply not a priority, and that's fine. Just be honest about it. I'm about to reveal the filtering system that eliminated 80% of my stress and decision fatigue. But first, you need to understand why most people's to-do lists are actually working against them. Tip number 5, use a physical to-do list. I know everyone's obsessed with apps, but there's something powerful about writing things down with an actual pen. I use a simple note card system, nothing fancy. Every morning after I figure out my daily highlight, I write down the other stuff I need to handle that day. The principle here is that your brain is for having ideas, not storing them. When you try to remember everything in your head, things slip through the cracks. When you write them down, you free up mental space to actually focus on execution. There's also something incredibly satisfying about physically crossing things off a list that you just don't get with digital apps. Even at my day job, I keep a physical list of tasks. It feels good to see progress in a tangible way. Tip number 6, adopt the hell yes or no principle. When you're young and opportunities are scarce, you should probably say yes to most things. But as you start getting more opportunities than you have time for, you need a filter. That filter is simple. Something is either a hell yes or it's a no. If someone asks you to do something and your response is A, maybe, or I guess that could be interesting, your default should be no. You should only commit to things that make you think, hell yes, I'm excited about this. This applies to everything: social events, work projects, side gigs, even Netflix shows. I'm still learning to apply this consistently. My calendar is still full of things I'm lukewarm about, and I always regret it when the time comes. The goal is to fill your life with things that energize you, not drain you. I'm really curious about how you handle this balance. Do you find it harder to say no to work opportunities or social commitments? And have you ever had that experience where you said yes to something you weren't excited about, and it turned out way better than expected, or way worse? I feel like we all have stories about both scenarios. Tip number 7, establish protected time blocks. As you start connecting with more people and taking on more responsibilities, your calendar fills up with meetings, calls, and other people's agendas. You need to protect time that's just for you. For me, mornings are sacred. I keep my mornings completely free of meetings and calls. This gives me 3 to 4 hours of uninterrupted time when my brain is freshest. Sometimes I use it for my most important work, sometimes for planning, and honestly, sometimes for just relaxing with coffee and a book. Figure out when you do your best work and guard that time fiercely. Don't let other people's schedules dictate when you tackle your most important projects. Tip number 8, start delegating earlier than you think you can afford to. Most people think delegation is only for executives with big budgets. That's not true. Even when my side business was barely making money, I started thinking about the dollar value of my time. I decided my time was worth $20 an hour. That meant anything I could outsource for less than $20 an hour, I should seriously consider delegating. This led me to hire a cleaner for my apartment. Best decision ever. It also meant outsourcing simple tasks like data entry and basic design work to freelancers on platforms like Upwork. The key question is, what's your time actually worth, and what tasks are you doing that someone else could handle for less? Your goal should be to spend more time on things only you can do and less time on everything else. Oh, and quick heads up, I just rolled out channel memberships here on YouTube. If you'd like to support the channel and get perks like priority replies to your comments or help shape future videos with your topic suggestions, hit that join button below. Would love to have you in the inner circle. Tip number 9, use scheduling tools to eliminate back and forth emails. I used to waste hours every week going back and forth with people trying to find meeting times. Are you free Tuesday? What about Wednesday afternoon? How about next week? It was exhausting. Then I discovered scheduling tools like Calendly. Now I just send people a link with my availability and they book whatever works for them. It feels slightly weird at first, like you're being too formal or demanding. But every time someone sends me their scheduling link, I'm grateful. It saves everyone time and mental energy. Let me tell you, I even use this with friends sometimes. Instead of spending weeks trying to coordinate a catch-up call, I'll send a scheduling link and say, I know this seems formal, but let's actually make this happen. It works. The final tip I'm about to share completely changed how I feel about productivity. It's the difference between people who burn out from their systems and those who actually enjoy getting things done. Tip number 10, choose to be satisfied with what you accomplish each day. This might be the most important tip of all. When you're focused on productivity and getting things done, it's easy to end each day feeling like you didn't do enough. You planned to complete 5 tasks, but only finished 3. You wanted to work for 8 hours, but only managed 6. Here's the thing, beating yourself up about it doesn't change how much you accomplished. It just makes you feel terrible. You can choose to feel satisfied with what you did get done. You can choose to acknowledge progress instead of fixating on what's still left to do. This doesn't mean lowering your standards or becoming complacent. It means recognizing that sustainable productivity comes from consistency, not from punishing yourself for being human. Celebrate the wins, learn from the misses, and show up again tomorrow. Here's what I've learned. Time management isn't really about managing time. It's about managing energy and attention. You can have the perfect system, but if you're constantly switching between tasks, checking notifications, and letting other people set your agenda, you'll still feel scattered and unproductive. My friend, the best time management system is the one you'll actually use consistently. Start with 1 or 2 of these strategies, master them, then add more if you need to. Don't try to overhaul your entire life in 1 week. That's a recipe for burning out and giving up. Remember, the goal isn't to become a productivity robot. It's to create more space for the things that actually matter to you, whether that's building a business, spending time with people you care about, or just having the mental bandwidth to enjoy your downtime without feeling guilty about all the things you should be doing. Time management is a skill, and like any skill, it gets better with practice. Start small, pick 1 or 2 strategies from this list, and implement them this week. See how they feel, adjust them to fit your life and your goals. The most important thing is to start taking ownership of your time. Stop saying you don't have time for things that matter to you. Start making intentional choices about where your hours go. Your future self will thank you for it. Here's the truth. Nothing changes until you do. You can keep watching, keep planning, keep waiting, or you can finally take action. Most people waste years in that gap between intention and execution. Don't let that be your story. The version of you that wins, that grows, that builds the life you actually want, that version is one choice away. If you found this video helpful, this next video right here will take you even further. Your choice, your life.